What is Kanban, right? So Kanban means a signboard. It is a Japanese term in which we have, it says Kanban means a signboard. That means it is visual. So something that's visual, right? So Kanban uses a principle called being visual to see things and how things are moving about. It helps them do a lot of work, right? So Kanban means signboard, that's being visual. So your Kanban boards will be visual. Okay, so let's get started off. So Kanban is used to improve processes. So once a project is gone live, the launch is done, right? The product's gone to production. Then there we have to support the project for a longer time, right? Now this is where the BAU mode, the business as usual mode, or the keep business running mode comes into. And now we have put a process, like changes are coming in, we fix those changes, right? What will be a dedicated capacity? How soon will we go to production? How often do we need to release? All these things, these processes, policies need to be made explicit. So Kanban is used to manage processes, right? To deliver projects, we use Scrum, but Kanban is used to manage processes. That's one thing. Next one, and it is based on the lean mindset. Kanban is based on a lean mindset. So there is a lot of flow that happens. Then, but in Kanban, we don't have any prescribed roles like product owner, scrum master. People will be then our companies, you may call them with those names, but Kanban doesn't specify any prescribed roles. Okay, you are a scrum master, you're a product owner. Okay, now, as I told you, Kanban is used for process improvement, not for project management. So how are we efficiently improving the process to deliver working software as fast as possible? In one of the organizations where I have worked, we cannot do releases every week. Right? There is a process for that. Right? There have been organizations where we do releases every month, every week. Once things have gone to production, so this is the process that's been followed. Okay. Then two important things to be remembered for Kanban is limiting the work in progress and pull system. What do you mean by limiting the work in progress? Let's try to understand that. Let's say, for example, you have two developers working on this particular post-production system for a particular client, right? So two developers are there, and at a given point of time, how many things can we work in parallel? 5 things, 6 things, 7 things? No, at most 2 things, because you've got two developers who can work in parallel, one by one on one task. So limiting work in progress is at any given point of time, one person should be having only one task. That's where the productivity increases. That's where the output increases. That's what Kanban advocates. Limit the work in progress so that the output increases, the productivity increases, and then we can see better results. If you start doing multitasking, it's not going to help. There's a myth that multitasking helps. No, it doesn't help, right? People lose a lot of time in context switching. It is one of the lean waste. Okay, so limiting work in progress, like have a dedicated capacity, take work equal to that capacity. Once something is completed, it goes to the next queue. That's where the pull system comes. If one of the columns is blank and you're working, then you pull work over there. Means there's no work, let's pull something. We have to optimize this. We'll see this in this video. Hang on, okay? So limiting work in progress and then pull system, two important things. Okay, in Kanban, capacity is considered to pull work to the next stage. Okay, how much capacity does drive, right? Unlike another task board that show only status, Kanban board is more of based on this capacity, this work is coming in. Okay, so this is a sample Kanban board in front of you. I have given an example of a login feature wherein there is a story for login, user story for password policy, or two-factor authentication, and number of concurrent sessions that can be logged in at a given point of time based on number of devices, maybe web or app or whatever is decided. Okay, so that's right now. Let's take an example of say Netflix. So Netflix, you have got a login, and they have a password policy, easy password, tough password, right? And then if they want to make it more stronger, usually in banking applications there's two-factor authentication, but if they want to put a two-factor authentication, they can put that also. And then number of concurrent sessions, that's they're very much worried about, right? They don't want two people to sit and watch at the same time, so they have to restrict these. So these are the user stories they want to put into the product. Okay, so that's where right now you see here in front of you, you see limiting working progress. You see here WIP limits as yeah, let's take this one, WIP limit 1, WIP limit 2, to do in progress and done, right? So these are the limit in work in progress which we have, right? So we can't take more work than this. Okay, so that's very limiting. WIP one means I will just have one developer at any given point of time. I can just take one story and work it out over here. I can start off with the login story and work it out over here. Once this is completed, this goes to the done, and then I'll work it out over here. Okay, so that's what it says. Now that's a Kanban mode example. Let's see next. Okay, so how do you get work done? Whenever you see a blank column, means you have to pull work. Okay, a blank column is indicator that work can be pulled from left to right. Okay, that's the main thing. Means there's no work. The person's idle. There is work. Pull work from left to right. Okay, so let's see how this board behaves. Now we have got these 4 stories with us. Okay, so one is one person at a time in both the things. So let's say he starts off with his work. So working on the login story. So we can't have login as well as password policy come together in Kanban. Okay, that's what Kanban says. You can't take this also and work at the same time. You can't have 2 stories work in parallel. Okay, Kanban doesn't advocate that. It says just take one thing because your limiting work in progress is over here. It's only one. The work in progress limit is 1, so you can take only one thing. Okay, good. Okay, now let's see how this goes. Next one is, let's say this story is done, it goes to test. Okay, so again you have got only one tester, so it's going to be only 1% testing. You can't have 2 things in testing. The moment this goes to testing, you see this blank column now. So this blank column means, as I told you, pull something over here, right? So something will come in over here now. So what is that coming? The next story, we'll pull the next story developer does, that comes in over here. Okay, you see it, the password policy stories come. Okay, so he'll work on this. So moment he's completed this, it go to the next queue. Again, the testing, work in progress number 1. Let's say we had 2 people, 2 developers working. We could have pulled the 2-factor authentication, provided there's no dependency on the password policy in 2-factor authentication. These are all small minor config developments, have not a lot of custom development. So these are one examples, right? Okay, next one. So what happens now? Let's say the testing is done or it's gone to done. It's ready to be delivered, it's gone to customer. So what happens? Tester is free now. Again, I can pull him, even the next work provided, the development is completed. Right? That works go there. Now let's say the developer is completed, so it's a blank column. I get 2-factor authentication story and I start working on that. Okay, so that's what is called as limiting work in progress. Okay, now let's see how does this help. Limiting work in progress helps us increase the productivity. Okay, it helps us to do faster completion of the work. So these are the 2 important things. We increase the productivity and this faster completion of the work. Okay, that's the benefit, and people are not stressed out. It's a sustainable way of working. Okay, people are happy. Okay, fine. Like for example, I was working on a services company wherein we had monthly releases. So they came back and told, okay, when you've got one developer who's working on this, 160 hours of work is going to take. No, sorry, we can't take 160 hours of work. Okay, we are just going to take 120 hours because we have to sit and look into the QA, we have to attend the calls, right? So we limited the work in progress amount also like 120 hours a month, and then we started delivering because a lot of time goes into the meetings and discussions and testing, right? So productive work, 120 hours of effort is what we decided to take in, and we took that. So limiting work in progress is important, right? So for retainer kind of projects or managed capacity projects, use Kanban. It helps you a lot. Okay. So why limit work in progress again? So if you have too many things in work in progress, no returns until product is accepted. Let's say 6 things are work in progress, not in one is gone out. So what's the return? Okay, too many tasks in parallel decrease the ROI. Then too many things work in progress, you don't know what are the bottlenecks, what is stuck where, who's doing what. Then risk in form of rework. Lot of too many things work in progress, lot of rework is also going to happen. Okay, WIP probability will be higher for a rework. Okay, if there are too many things in rework, in work in progress, the rework will be higher. Okay, understand this because you're not figuring out things, you're not testing things, you're not validating things immediately. Okay, now let's talk about Little's law. Little's law says that how long it takes to complete a work is directly proportional to how much work is in progress. If there are 5 things in the work in progress queue, right, then that's a work in progress. How long will it take to complete the work? Once you complete the 5 things. So let's say 5 things going to take 5 days. Okay, all those things. So it's going to take 5 things taking 5 days. How long? 5 days. 5 things is that. Let's say we had just one thing work in progress. It takes only one day. Immediately next day it can be used. That is the beauty. Understand this. Okay. Next. So how to use Kanban to improve processes for software development? So we have got this process like define, design, build, test, and deploy. So how does this work in Kanban? So everything this is two concepts of cycle time and lead time. Cycle time is the time it takes to do one particular task or activity, like defining things. Okay, I need like one day to analyze. Design, again, I have to design the solution. It takes like one day. Then building might take say 3 days, right? Testing might say take one day, and deployment might say half a day or one day. So this is the cycle time to do a particular activity based on the size of the work. Okay. Lead time is the total time it takes to deliver the working software to the customer. Understand these two differences. Cycle time is the work it takes to do activity. 4 or 5 cycle times together will give you a lead time. Okay, getting it? Good. Now, how do we limit work in progress? Now, in front of you, you are seeing define, design, build, test, deploy. So the people that we have in front of us are, let me just use a highlighter. Okay, so in the define, we have got 2 people. In defining things are 2 people. Designing things again 2. So this is a limiting work in progress. Building we have got 6. Okay, testing we have got just 1 tester, right? Deployment there will be 1 person. So nobody's there yet nobody's defined. So how do we ensure that this is optimized? Okay. So output, what will be the output, right? So before that, understand what is the output or what is an output. Output is the velocity or the effort that comes out of it, right? So the output can be increased. People think we're just adding more people, right? No, that's not it. If you limit work in progress, the working software output will be increased, right? So having more things in working progress, just 1 or 2 things are there equal to the number of people we have, then the output is better. Okay, so that's called as a concept called as throughput. Throughput is working progress by cycle time. We already saw what a cycle time duration it takes to do one particular task or activity. Okay, now you see here. Now we are now optimizing the flow. We're managing the flow. So we saw 6 people earlier in build and test. Now we did a run through of one sprint, and we understood that okay, within 10 days this is what's happening. So we are now saying okay, let's make the build and test as 4, build as 4, testing as 2, and define design 2 is fine. So every time one thing moves from left to right, we are ensuring something else is there. Let's say from design 2 it becomes 1. It's open for one more thing. Something from define can be pulled in if it's ready. Okay, that's a managed flow. So build and test 4 are there. Once something goes to testing, we can again pull one thing to build over here, right? So build we have got 4. Once it goes to testing, it becomes 3. We can pull one from design to build. Okay, so that's the managing the flow. Very, very important thing is, so at every point of this, we need to implement some feedback loops. Okay. So from define to design, there is a review feedback loop. Okay, there is a meeting. We want to review something. Okay, what has been defined, the clarification before we come up with the solution design. Are we ready with that? And then again, from design to build, between the solutioning person or the BSA and the developer, there is a discussion. The tester is a discussion. The acceptance criteria is coming out. The user stories are elaborated, right? Then from build to test. So again, there is a discussion between developer and tester. What are unit test cases written? What is test cases written? What is acceptance criteria? What is working? What is not working? What is the observation? So these discussions happen. Then from testing to deployment, we are ensuring that everything is going in. Customer comes back and gives a feedback. Okay, this is not working. So these are the feedback loops that Kanban implements. Okay, that's the inspection and adaptation trying to do what we used to do in Scrum, kind of, right? So that's it's going to help us. So those are the implementing of feedback loops. Okay, so that's about the process flow in Kanban. Now I want to give you a mnemonic to remember the 5 Kanban principles. So what do we see in front of me? We see a virtual machine, right? And virtual machines are there. People give 1 terabyte free space. Yahoo is giving that. Google, if you pay them 2,000 rupees, you're getting like 2 terabytes free space. right? So many companies are there who give a lot of space to use. But again, there is a limit. They say unlimited, but there is a limit to it. Okay, limit. So what I'm talking, these virtual machines have a limit, right? So what the mnemonic I want you to remember is, I have put it on a flashcard, VM limits. Okay, so remember that every virtual machine has some limit of data that can go. Okay, it cannot be like infinite. Okay, remember this VM limits is the mnemonic which you're having. Okay, so V stands for visual. Kanban is a very visual process. So visual flow, right? We saw the board, things from left to right. We are seeing what is work in progress, what is limiting work in progress, what is in test, what is in development, how things are moving from left to right. So it's very visual. That's the first principle. Next thing is make process policies explicit. One of the principles is, so you make process policies like, okay, fine, we are gonna write the acceptance criteria. We are gonna follow the user stories written in a particular format. Every time updates are there, people are putting their comments, right? The test trails and the test cases will be added into Jira. Everybody will update the Jira. We'll put the dates on the Jira. We are using this Jira board or the for the Kanban flow from left to right, right? And everything. So we are making some explicit process and policies. We'll meet every day and have discussions, right? So these process and policies should be made explicit with the team. That's the next principle. So VM, the next one is limit. So limit in work in progress, we saw how it helps. We limit the work in progress, it's going to give us more output, more productivity. And improve collaboration, right? So we want people to work together. So Kanban says we have to improve collaboratively. So we have got so many reviews, implementing feedback, which we saw in the previous slide. People have to work together. Collaboration is the key to success in Agile. Becoming self-organizing and developing collaborating teams makes Agile successful. Okay, then manage the flow. So we see like where it can be optimized. We need more developers or more testers. Let's optimize it in that way. Okay, manage the flow. So remember this mnemonic to VM limits. So you can make a flashcard, write the question in front, answer at the back. As I always say, write VM limits over here, and V stands for visual, M stands for make process policy explicit, L stands for limiting working progress, I stands for improve collaboration, M stands for manage flow. So this is what we do with VM limit. This flashcard for you to remember. So mnemonic is there, a flashcard is there. Use flashcards to remember things. Always remember in flashcards, you put question in front, answer at the back. When you retrieve information, it stays with you for a longer time rather than just reading it. Okay, when you see the question in front and you see VV is what I'm not able to recollect, no problems, turn back and see visual. So that's where it retains more. Every time you test your brain, the retention increases. Okay, so that's the mnemonic you have. Now, let's see a mind map on this. So there is visual, we spoke about visual Kanban board, how it's visual, things move from left to right. And then after that, make process policies explicit, we spoke about that. Then limit in work in progress, we don't want people to be juggling with many things, doing multitasking. Then after improve collaborative, right? Everybody has to work together within the team, outside of the team, with the customer. So that's very important. Then finally, manage flow. Now let's put a mind map on this. So Kanban, as I told you, we explained all of this in the video. So limiting, making visual, make process policy explicit, limit work in progress, improve collaboratively, and manage flow. Draw this mind map, use the flashcard and mnemonic, right? You'll remember this. So watch this video a couple of times. I'm very sure you'll understand the Kanban flow. If you have any questions or doubts, put it in the comment section. I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching my video. This is Arham Faraaz. Bye-bye. Please do like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you.